There are some sectors, there are pockets of excellence, and there is pockets of very strong, historically very strong performance by some sectors. First and foremost, it's pharma sector, which is really comes to the front there. Unfortunately, in my view, pharma sector will be facing significant headwinds going next year and also year after in terms of the patent drugs, expiration of patents, and in terms of also structural change. Demand is shifting very much towards the Southeast Asia and the Asia-Pacific, and also what we would call middle-income economies and emerging economies. Ireland is not a natural entry port to those economies, so we're probably going to see some divestment out of Ireland over a period of time. The other sectors that we traditionally come to rely on in terms of exports, ICT manufacturing, have been contracting over the years, so there isn't much of hope there. On the ICT services side, however, we are doing very well, and I think that there is significant growth potential there still, huge growth potential. In fact, this is the only sector right now where there is a surplus of job openings. There's about 3,500 high-end development and software engineering jobs which are open across the country, which we can't fill because we don't have enough talent. So that sector is certainly growing. In terms of other high value-added services, we're seeing now a very good moment of where the companies which have been traditionally focusing on Irish market are diversifying into international markets. In the last few weeks, there have been significant announcements from several architecture firms, for example. Project management firms have been doing really well, some of them in diversifying abroad. Legal services and the international financial services are doing really well as well. So there are pockets of excellence. Global economy currently is entering a new period of renewed slowdown, both in terms of the trade flows, but also in terms of the investment, which is very crucially important from our point of view in Ireland, because we're open for the foreign direct investment, but we also are reliant on investment abroad in order to generate demand for our exports as well. So in that sense, there is quite a bit of a pressure building up. I would be more positive on the side of the United States economy. I think the U.S. economy towards the second half of the next year is going to go into a full normal recovery mode. I think they will resolve by then the big parts of the problems, say, for example, on the household debt side, and as a result of that, there will be a new kind of upward cycle there. That will provide some buoyancy for us. Where the real pressures and difficulties are arising is in our trade exposure and investment exposure to Europe at large. European Union, in particular Eurozone, which is one of our largest trading partners as well, have been in a structural falling out of the global growth story for over a decade now. If you look at the rates at which the weight of the European economy and global economy is contracting, it is contracting much faster than it is for the United States or for other advanced economies, such as, for example, Australia, UK, New Zealand, and so forth. And as a result of that, what we're facing is Ireland as the entry port into Europe is losing relevance. Now, in many ways, there is a slight positive side to it as well. If we can compete on a cost basis, if we can compete on I don't mean the labor cost basis, I'm talking about the cost basis of access to the market, to European markets, we will be able to capture a little bit more of that shrinking business pie. But as far as the total growth story, Europe is certainly not going to be a growth engine anytime soon, and if ever at this stage. So from our point of view, it is crucial, therefore, to diversify outside of the European realm. There are great stories out there. There are great stories of entrepreneurship. I mean, you're talking to a person who left the employment with a multinational corporation, to start a business myself. There are great stories of companies, both established companies, which have found new markets and diversified their service offers. And we're not talking about reduce the costs of employment. Many of those companies actually have maintained their employment, have paid the wages to people, have paid the bonuses, and they're raising the revenue instead. These are great success stories. I mean, there are several of them which come to mind. For example, in the biotech sector, there is several indigenous companies, Irish companies, which have been opening markets all across the board. And there is a great success story of, for example, one of the companies in the high-tech manufacturing, which deals with agricultural equipment, but it is very high-tech equipment as well, which has become one of the largest suppliers of agricultural equipment in the vast markets like China and Russia. And this is a company straight out of started by a farmer back in the Midlands, as well, for many years present in the Irish market, but now finds a new footing, very strong footing abroad as well. There's a great story of PM Group, which is a construction consultancy and advisory firm and the project management firm, which used to have something like 80% of its revenue derived within Ireland, and with the collapse of the construction sector here, has managed to maintain all of its employment, has managed to increase actually its revenue, and shifted its activities outside of Ireland, and now derives more than 80% of its revenue from the international markets. It's very strongly present around the world. It's recognizable in very dynamic economies around the world. So there are great stories. There are small businesses which operate like that. There are startups which operate like that and all. What we need in this country right now is to have more businesses like that.